Welcome back to Grid Drop. Today we're doing a very interesting F123 challenge where these random wheels are going to decide what exactly that challenge is. So if you're new to the channel, feel free to like and subscribe, it really helps me out. And that being said, let's just get right into it. So these wheels are going to decide our car, our weather, tires, track, and lastly our grid position. So hopefully we get something doable at least, but first things first, we'll spin for the car. I do have every single team listed on this wheel, they're all listed twice. But it's a pretty fair chance we get whatever we get. So it looks like we're going to be stuck with the Ferrari.
It's a Ferrari!
It's a shitbox!
Next up we have weather, so that's heavy rain, medium rain, light rain, clear, and chance of rain, which means I'll have a inaccurate weather forecast for the race. And it looks like we're going to be clear, which hopefully is a good thing. It's going to depend on what tires we get. But we'll see what's up next. And I got an ad. Up next we have tires, so there's wets, inters, hards, mediums, softs, wets and mediums, inters and hards, inters and two softs, and softs and wets. So very big range of options for us right now. Hopefully it's something good and we get stuck with softs and wets. So definitely going to have an interesting strategy if we want to do well. But for the tracks we have Monaco, Bahrain, Canada, China, Spa, the Red Bull Ring, Qatar, and Australia. I've never raced around Qatar, so I hope it's not Qatar. And we get Monaco, of course. So wet tires around a dry Monaco is going to be very interesting. Lastly, we have our grid position. You can see there's one slot for pole position. The rest are P20. I'm going to give myself 3 spins on this, and we'll see what we end up with. But first one, unfortunately, is not pole position. Second one, P20. Our last spin, hopefully we can get pole position. And just missed it. We're starting at the very back of the field. So into F1 World now. I'm going to set up this race, and our challenge has been decided. So for our car, we have the Ferrari. Our weather is going to be clear and dry. Our tires are going to be the softs and wets. Our track is Monaco, and our grid position is at the very back of the field. So I think my strategy here is, since this is a 5-lap race, I'm going to start on the soft compound tires. I guess probably do 2 or 3 laps, try to get up the order into first place, get a pretty sizable gap to the cars behind, and then pit onto wet compound tires in the dry. So hopefully we can claw our way up the order and finish on the podium or top 5. We'll see. But I retired from qualifying, so we are starting at the very back of the grid. And speaking of that, here we are, lined up on the grid. Hopefully we can get a really good start and just blow right past these guys. I want some really good traction off the start. 5 red lights are on, and we are racing in Monaco, starting from the very back of the field. Pretty decent start so far, good amount of traction, already flying up the inside of the AlphaTauri. Into turn 1 now, going to be very, very sketchy. Up the inside now, barely staying within track limits, and we're going to definitely out-traction this Alpine up on the run into this long left-hander. Up the inside of the Haas of Nico Hülkenberg now, around the outside of 1, 2, 3 cars. Up the inside now of the Haas of Kevin Magnussen, and that's already into 11th position, almost in the points. Definitely going to make up a lot of time into this braking zone, passing 3 more cars and up into 8th position behind Sergio Perez and Lando Norris, who we're going side by side with around the hairpin, and already into 6th position. So really getting a lot of spots off the start. This is a lot faster than I thought I would. Now sitting behind Fernando Alonso, definitely going to get better traction into the tunnel, blow right past him, and we're really making up some quick time. Up next is Lewis Hamilton. Hopefully we can go for a move into the braking zone, or before the braking zone. We just fly past the Mercedes, and now we are on the back of our teammate Carlos Sainz, out-traction him, and we are already into the podium positions before the lap is even over. Hopefully we can get George Russell sometime soon, and it looks like we're going to go for a move right here up the inside. That was definitely very risky. I have to make sure I'm not too greedy, because if I have front wing damage, this challenge is going to get a whole lot more difficult. But behind Max Verstappen now, our race leader. Hopefully we can get him before the lap is even over. Quick move to the outside, and we pass every single driver in 1 lap. So now is time to hunker down and really get some good lap times in. So we have 2 laps pretty much to just really create the biggest possible gap to the cars behind. You can already see there's a decent sized gap to Verstappen behind. I think ideally I need to be around probably 15 seconds to second place if I want to emerge in the podium position. So we'll see if I can make up that much time. Obviously going to be setting 2 fastest laps right here. These guys are really not quick around here. So the one problem that I'm predicting with the wet compound tires is that my real advantage against the 0% AI lies in the braking zone. So On the straights, they're not, they're not really too slow. They can just put the pedal to the floor, and they're pretty much the same speed as me. Obviously, I get more traction out of corners, and in the braking zones, I'm a lot better. So those two are going to be very difficult once I get these wet compound tires on, because I'm going to be lacking traction out of corners. I'm going to be lacking just rotation through the corners. And also, I'm going to be really having to brake very, very early. So I'm probably going to be braking about where the 0% AI are braking, which is very early, but otherwise I'm just going to be locking up and sliding into a wall. So definitely have to be careful about that, but also I'm definitely going to be losing my advantage once I have these wet compound tires on. So I'm going to set the wet compound tires on the MFD right now, just so I don't forget. But also boxing this lap. So this is lap 3. We're speeding up the lap a little bit, and just pay attention to the gap in the top left. So it's pretty close to about 10 seconds right now to our second place runner of Max Verstappen, and hopefully we can get it to around 15 seconds. I don't know how much more time I'm going to be able to make up just through these braking zones and just getting better traction on the straighter parts of the track. But hopefully we can emerge in probably P4, P3, somewhere around there would be ideal. I'm shooting for a podium. Hopefully we can go for a win, but we're going to have to see. Hopefully there's no issue with the pit stop, or I don't get a 5-second time penalty entering the pit lane. But into the pit lane we go right about now, and hopefully this will be a good, clean stop. No issues, no penalty, so that's good. And the Ferrari pit crew are hard at work now, getting Leclerc out on the wet compound tires. So typical Ferrari strategy here in Monaco, absolutely shafting the hometown hero. We've definitely seen this before for Leclerc, but Verstappen passes us on the track, and we're exiting the pit lane now. George Russell is going to pass us as well. It looks like Carlos Sainz is potentially going to pass us. He's going around the outside of turn 1 right now. Luckily, we have that inside line from the pit exit, and we are on to the track. So the wet compound tires are definitely going to be very difficult to drive. I'm already noticing a huge lack of rotation, a lot of understeer through these corners compared to the soft compound tires. Obviously, that's going to be very drastic of a difference. Kind of locking up right there, going a little bit deep. Just sort of underestimating how early I have to brake with these tires. I can't really jam on the brakes either. I have to go really, really light into the braking zones. Otherwise, I'm just going to lock up and skid. Getting really, really close to the wall right there. Going very wide. And this is definitely pretty difficult once I got used to the soft compound tires. But we can probably go for a move on George Russell this lap, and then it's going to leave us one lap to catch the leader. And we do go for a move up the inside of George Russell into the Nouvelle chicane. And that's pretty easy work. So now all we have to focus on is our race leader, the Red Bull driver, Max Verstappen. So hopefully we can catch up with him, semi soon. Obviously, once we get to him, passing is going to be probably pretty easy, but hopefully we can get there in time. So I think the gap right now is about 2 or 3 seconds. You can see in the top left, so we're going to have to make up some time. Hopefully into the braking zones, I'm a little bit more adjusted this time. You can see pretty much nailing the apex right there. I've gotten a little bit more used to these tires, so hopefully we can get some good rotation through here. This is a corner where you can make up a lot of time compared to the AI. They brake very early and go pretty slowly, so it looks like a pretty good run through here, using the full width of the track, avoiding that bump in the middle of the road, braking pretty early, and now hugging the inside of this right-hander into the hairpin now, and hopefully we're gaining. It doesn't really seem like we're gaining too much. And this lap is about half over, so we definitely need to kick it into gear. Max Verstappen is definitely getting much nicer lines through these corners. You can see the gap is definitely being reduced a little bit, but I don't think it's enough as of right now. This is the final lap of the race. We're going to really need to make up a lot of time into this braking zone, braking as late as I possibly can, and just barely staying within track limits right there. Verstappen is still a little ways away. You can see in the top left again, the seconds are not going down quickly enough. So through the swimming pool section now, I don't know if this is going to be enough. He needs to make some type of mistake. Getting really, really close to the wall. Huge kick of wheel spin right there, and I think that pretty much ruined our chances of getting close enough to pass Max Verstappen. So unfortunately, looks like it's going to be P2, fighting the wet compound tires till the end, but we do come out with a podium. So starting last on the grid, we had 3 laps on softs, made a pretty sizable gap to these guys. But unfortunately, the wet compound tires were just a little bit too much to handle around a dry Monaco. But overall, I think we did pretty good getting a podium for this kind of challenge. But if you do like these kinds of challenges, please let me know in the comments. It was pretty fun to make, and it's definitely a little bit more of an original idea, so I like making them. If you do like it, leave a comment and I'll try to make more. Also, thank you so much for the support on these recent videos. It's been really, really cool to see. But yeah, that being said, I do have a Discord linked in the description, so you can join that if you're interested. And if you made it this far, thank you very, very much for watching. It means a lot. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.